perfect marriage, a jealous sister, a dangerous seduction. When betrayal strikes, Min-sol fights to reclaim her love and expose the enemy hiding in her own blood. Is blood really thicker than water? Find out in this captivating thriller drama. Blood and Entrapment. Min-sol was the kind of woman who turned heads even in a crowd. With flawless porcelain skin, long dark hair that flowed like silk, and eyes that held a calm, quiet intensity, she was the epitome of grace. She worked diligently as an accountant in one of Seoul's top firms and was married to Dal, a successful banker with the face of a movie star and a smile that could melt stone. Their marriage was the envy of everyone who knew them. For 3 years, they had lived a peaceful life in their chic, minimalist 3-bedroom apartment in Gangnam. They cooked together, laughed easily, and spent weekends watching old dramas or walking along the Han River. To Min-sol, life was close to perfect. She often told her younger sister, Ha-rin, how lucky she was. "Uri dal un 정말 완벽해, you know? My Dal is truly perfect," she'd gush during phone calls. Ha-rin, on the other hand, had been struggling for a long time. She worked part-time jobs, lived in a small studio, and constantly wrestled with feelings of inadequacy. From childhood, Ha-rin had felt overshadowed. Min-sol was the golden daughter, smart, kind, pretty. Their parents doted on her, while Ha-rin was left to exist in her shadow. So, when Ha-rin called Min-sol one rainy evening, claiming her rent had expired and she needed a place to stay until she got a new job, Min-sol didn't hesitate. "그냥 있어. 우리 집요, just stay. Our home is your home," Min-sol said warmly. Ha-rin moved in with a small suitcase and a forced smile. And for the first few weeks, everything was peaceful. She cooked, helped with chores, and kept to herself. But all the while, she watched Dal. She watched the way he smiled at Min-sol, the way he gently touched her back as they passed in the hallway, the way he laughed at her jokes. A slow, burning jealousy began to build. Ha-rin couldn't help but compare. Dal was everything she wanted. Successful, kind, attentive. And he was married to the sister who had always had everything. Why did Min-sol get it all? Why not her? One evening, while Min-sol was working late, Ha-rin made fresh crab soup. She remembered Dal had once mentioned it was his favorite. She put extra effort into the dish, garnishing it with fresh green onions and sesame seeds. Then she changed into a tight short grey dress that hugged her body in all the right places. It barely reached mid-thigh and exposed the delicate lines of her collarbone. She dabbed on a touch of perfume and brushed her long wavy hair until it shimmered. When Dal came home, tired but polite as ever, she called from the kitchen. "Oppa, can you help me? I can't reach the mug on the top shelf." He walked over and reached up. As he handed her the mug, she lightly tapped his chest with a flirtatious giggle. "고마워. You're so tall and strong," she said, smiling up at him. Dal paused. His eyes narrowed slightly, but he said nothing. He walked away, but Ha-rin wasn't discouraged. She started cooking more often, always waiting for Min-sol to leave. She'd prepare his favorite dishes, leave little notes on his lunchboxes, and laugh at everything he said. One weekend, she wore nothing but a silk robe that conveniently slipped off her shoulder as she bent down to pick something up in front of him. Dal averted his gaze. Then she started showing up at his office. The first time, she brought him lunch. The second time, she claimed she was nearby and just wanted to say hi. Dal remained polite but distant, never once leading her on. Yet Harin convinced herself he was just being cautious. In her mind, she was winning. She was slowly infiltrating the perfect world Min Sol had built. She deserved Dal more than her sister ever did. What Harin didn't know was that Dal had told Min Sol everything the very first time it happened. "She tried to touch me," he said one night as they lay in bed. "She's wearing these tight dresses and cooking meals for me, like she's trying to seduce me." Min Sol was silent for a long time. Then she said, "Let's see how far she'll go." They hatched a plan. Dal would pretend to be flattered, to go along with it. They needed proof, something undeniable. Something to finally rid themselves of Harin's presence. Weeks passed. One day, Min Sol was feeling dizzy at work. She took an early lunch break and headed home, hoping to rest. She stepped into the apartment quietly, not wanting to wake anyone, only to hear soft laughter from her bedroom. She crept closer. What she saw shattered her heart. Harin and Dal were in bed, in their underwear, kissing passionately. Her bags fell from her hands. She couldn't speak. She turned and ran. That night she returned. Dal was out. Harin was sitting at the dining table, eating grapes like nothing had happened. Min Sol stared at her. "Eoteoge kurol suiso?" "How could you do this?" she asked, her voice trembling. Harin looked up with no remorse. "You always had everything. Appa and Dioma loved you more. You were prettier, smarter. You always got the attention. Dal should have been mine. He noticed me, you know. He wanted me too." Min Sol's heart cracked. "You moved in just to ruin my life?" "I moved in to take back what should have been mine," Harin said, standing, arms crossed. "Every time you told me how great he was, all I could think about was how I deserved it more than you." Then Min Sol smirked. Just for a second, it made Harin's smug confidence falter. "What's so funny?" Harin asked. The front door opened. Dal stepped in. Min Sol turned to him. "Perfect timing." Dal walked over, placed a protective arm around Min Sol, and looked directly at Harin. "We knew," Min Sol said softly. "From the beginning. We were just playing along." Harin's face turned pale. "You think you could walk into my life and just destroy everything I worked for?" Min Sol's voice rose with fury. She walked up to Harin and slapped her hard across the cheek. Harin gasped, stunned. "You think you can steal my husband? That he wouldn't tell me?" Another slap. "How dare you crave my life when all I ever did was love you as my sister?" She raised her hand again, but Dal gently held her wrist. "It's okay, honey. Just let her go," he whispered. Harin stood there, humiliated. Everything she'd built in her mind, the fantasies, the manipulation, shattered. She packed her bags silently that night. She didn't cry. But as she stepped out of the apartment and into the cold soul night, she realized she had lost more than just a dream. She had lost Min Sol, the one person who had truly loved her. That night, peace returned to Min Sol's home. She curled into Dal's arms, breathing him in. "Thank you for telling me," she whispered. "Always. I'll always put you first," he replied. "You didn't really sleep with her, right?" "I kissed her," Dal said. "Just as planned, but it felt bitter. As bitter as her heart." Min Sol laughed softly. "She doesn't hold a candle to me." "No one does," Dal said, kissing her forehead. Outside, the breeze rustled the trees, and their laughter drifted out the window, rising into the soul sky, free at last from deceit. If you found this story interesting and want more, please like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.